normally, if anyone was going to be a betting man, you'd probably look to see PPD being drafting this hero because it's one of his big heroes he pushed into the scene. But now we see Lanham on this Abaddon. How is the synergy meant to work for EHOME? What's the plan?
So this, to me, is one of the absolute best counter picks in the game against Bane and Slardar. It's what triggered it. It's not because it has great synergy with Luna or with any of the other heroes for that matter. It's simply a way of addressing the problems that are Amplify Damage and Fiend Script that you can just remove with that Aphotic Shield. It's very powerful. And the unique thing about this as a support hero compared to every other support hero in the game is that you can't just kill it off and just play from there. A lot of other counter picks just get shut down if they get ganked, but Abaddon with level 6 can of course just trigger the borrowed time and play from there. Another very little bit of interesting synergy in this lineup is of course when Luna uses Eclipse, you turn day to night for 10 seconds. That's nice for Night Stalker. You don't plan around that in the lineup, but it actually does allow them to make use of Night Stalker a little bit more during the day.
There's also something which works during the nighttime, because when you have that increased vision that the Luna grants, and then the reduced vision the Night Stalker has, your smoke, you can actually get even closer to the enemy with it. So when you go for these smoke gangs, look for EHOME to just manipulate that a little bit more. Obviously not just about the Eclipse, it's about the whole vision kind of game which can come from EHOME into the midpoint of the game. And they can die pretty heavily. Like you put that Aphotic Shield over on a Night Stalker, he's going to willingly just jump in. And then you got the life which can be given from Lanham. And they're actually running almost a tri-lane here in mid as the Bane looking down on both the SF as well as the Abaddon. But with the shield up, the Abaddon can just get back to the front lines, and the TA can't just zone him out.
One more thing to keep in mind in this game, of course, is it is a support Night Stalker. They're already pressuring Pasha in the top lane. Night Stalker benefits a lot from having a Aphotic Shield. He's such an aggressive hero by nature during the nighttime. Even in a support role, he can extend himself even further into fights and look for kills. So I'm very curious to see this lineup from EHOME work, or be played rather, because it can backfire very hard. This support duo of Abaddon and Night Stalker can, it's double melee. You're playing into a lineup that has heroes that on paper are great against melee heroes. So they need the execution to be there, but I would love to see it work.
Yeah. I'm kind of keeping my eyes on this bottom lane, because Mag's already had a little bit of a crack at Old 11. And on this off lane with Slardar now hitting level 2, the ability to have sprint and chase after the Earthshake, because he went for Totem to start with that little bit of extra stun. But that's all he's got to really work with. The top lane's also getting a little bit contested, as Karka as well as Lanham. They are going to slow down right now over on Solo, and Solo gets a little bit of life back with that brain stab, trying to run himself out, but Lanham's got the shield up. They don't want to attack into him, because then they'll just trigger the shield and kill off Solo, deny himself up to the Trolls, attempt to do it, able to do it as well. Vega not giving EHOME an inch, but they're not out just yet. Seema on the run. They saw everything with an Observe Ward, the TP, but there's a Lucid Beam available. It'll end up being cancelled, and Seema, he should be the first blood, and he will be the first blood. Abaddon will take it. A nice little thing to have on his first outing here at the Frankfurt Major.
I'm very curious to see what skill build Lanham goes for here. If he takes Curse of Avernus on level 2 or if he goes for Miscall. This is an exceptional value point. The 15% movement speed bonus for himself and the allies against those targets is great, but it requires you to get in the first place. And in the mid game, it's very difficult for a banner to just commit into a fight. But this early in a try versus try lane scenario, it can help them chase them down very nicely. He does have boots already as well, so...
It's like, what do you want to throw out there? Like, you want to get the slow when you already have the Void coming out from the Night Stalker?
Got coil.
And with the three nukes together, yeah, it's just so much burst damage.
Miss Coil isn't that great.
It's when you combine everything together.
This ability is a lot better than I remember. You never see this hero in competitive Dota anymore, but just a reminder, it's a 4.5 second cooldown and 100 damage nuke for 75 health and 50 mana, so the trade-off isn't that great, but the fact that the cooldown is so low allows them to use it 2 or 3 times per engagement in this lane, I think.
So he's already looking at 200, 300 damage. That's half the life of the Queen of Pain, if they can keep it there, of course.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
A little bit more of a difficulty. Surprising with Vega, like, because they've split up their combos. Normally you look to see like the Bane as well as the Slardar work together. By the way, Slardar having some fun here against Old 11. He doesn't have enough mana for a fissure, and Mag not popping the sprint. Does not want to get involved there.
Oh, he really respected it. Okay, now he's going, because he had 10 stick charges.
Okay, yep, they give it a crack. He's still got enough damage. That Totem and Fissure is available, and the Earthshake is running a bottle, so... He's still got a lot of mana up his sleeve, and Mag is just playing around the creep wave.
This is a funny funny interaction. I do think Mag will kill him, unless...
Oh, the stun can't get the secondary fissure, and this will be a kill. The solo one coming the way of Mag. They really played Ring-a-Ring-a-Rosie until finally Mag finds the kill.
It's one of those situations where you're just trapped. Neither hero can, or well, Slara could easily get out, but Shaker, even with a TP scroll, knows he's going to get stunned if he tries to port out, so he has to try to kite and bait a bit. Didn't work. Pasha.
Top lane, they're going to use the Mango, and Pasha, Cold Embrace will protect him for the moment. Remember, he got that nuke coming back in again. Lana moves forward. Who's going to shield? He's actually just going to go directly for the nuke. Shields up himself. He will still end up dying here. Should, yes, Seema does get the last attack in, but Solo won't be able to run himself away in time. And Willie Kaka turns, and there's your Void. A 2-for-1 trade-off going the way of EHOME. And really propelling both this Luna and Night Stalker forward. The attack happening as we just hit that nighttime.
They're going to need it too, because now that Slaughter's level 6, he can solo kill this Earthshaker very easily until Old 11 gets his level 6. He's chosen to go for a 2-1-2 build. The interesting thing about this lane though is that it's difficult for Mag to figure out what Earthshaker has skilled. As long as he only uses these enchant totems for last hits very late, he can be more scared of Old 11 than he actually needs to if he thinks it's a level 3 enchant totem. But he is on 2-1-2. And now here.
If Mag was just an inch up, like if he actually hit that crush, then Pasha, with this rotation timing, would have been perfect. They'd find the kill on the offlane Earthshaker, and then more and more space comes for the Queen of Pain. And they're giving her the space now. Top lane wasn't successful enough for her. And she really does need that item. Like, what do you even do as this Queen of Pain? You're on an offlane quap. Below the quaps we've seen throughout this tournament have been looking for that early Orchid. Can you still achieve that?
They've swapped him after 6 minutes and 1 death. So realistically, he might find 1 or 2 kills in this lane, but he's only level 4.5 right now. So I wouldn't recommend Orchid. I think it's going to come out too late, and they have a Photic Shield against it.
Real trouble right now. Mag doesn't actually have the mana for a crush, but he's just going to keep up with Kaka and just try and beat him down.
He has it now.
Okay, he can just commit it and then just go back to well. Or ends up being the tower that gets the kill. No one battling up against both Old Chicken as well. So Lanham Dammy does a lot of damage. That's a double damage rune with the Sideblade spill. Old Chicken's gonna drop. And Vega with 2 very quick kills.
Yeah, this early game is... I feel like it looks pretty good for Vega. They're getting the key levels that they need on their heroes. I guess the Queen of Pain being the exception, but now that she has the safe lane, she'll get there. Slaughter won his lane. He can now rotate and try to put some pressure top. Of course, slightly difficult against the Luna, who will have Eclipse ready very soon, and the nighttime vision.
Alright, so... Bottom lane, Night Stalker trying to make the most out of the end of this nighttime. They've only got 1 minute left, and the Fissure, Old 11, he can't block in Solo. In fact, Solo's now going to turn this around with a Nightmare, keeping the Earthshaker in position, allowing Queen of Pain to arrive, but very timidly does not move forward. That Echo Slam was still up, the mana was available, but up on top lane, CTY. Okay, Mag can try and get aggressive on CTY, but the second he moves away from the wave, he has to be careful, because then the Eclipse, every single one of them could hit him. Even with 1k life almost, Mag's still gonna be careful.
Yeah, the sprint amplification is gonna make it even worse, so... Not for you. The thing about it is that he moves so fast that if CTY starts the animation, which he did right there, as long as you make the right call as the Slaughter, you can outrun, I think... You might take 2 beams and then you'll get out of range.
As long as you don't get hit by the Lucent Beam. Bottom lane, the Nightmare starting on the Earthshaker. There's no Sonic Wave available, but with the Earthshaker, Echo Slam, Old 11 commits so heavily. I think he realized he was going to die anyway, and Pasha blinks into the tree line. Old 11 with a stun. He'll find the kill. The heal came in just in time from Lanham, and now Solo will die as well. Vega committing so hard underneath that tier 1 tower. And it does not pay dividends.
That was such a perfect play from Lanham. I think he actually... He healed him in the fog, so Vega didn't know it was happening. I don't think they saw him in lane. And they think they can commit and get this kill easily, but what a turnaround play. This is so good for Old 11, getting level 8 minute 8:30. It's a dream for a dire offlane Earthshaker.
I was actually wondering too, when you run this offlane Earthshaker, would you have those critical timings delayed? Like he goes directly into treads to go with the wand and the bottle, or just the stick and the bottle, I should say. With that blink dagger timing, if he keeps having moments like this, they're going to be able to get that up, and CTY is so dead. Mag comes in, they do curse him up. CTY, fairly tanky. Gets a little bit of chip damage out before he dies, but that required 3 heroes to come up to kill off just a Luna, and then, even then it wasn't easy.
I think the combination of heroes they brought up there wasn't the strongest either. They didn't have, for example, a Sonic Wave just for the burst. Regardless, they got the job done.
Kaka is baiting right now on top lane. He's staying close enough to Mag that Mag kind of has the feeling he can go, but Lanham hides in the tree lines. Instantly can break off the stun with a shield, and then follow up with his own form of nuke.
I think he was spotted there by the crit wave. If Mag was paying close attention, he should have seen him since it is daytime.
He'll definitely be seen by the observer ward.
Now they're very, very visible.
The worst thing EHOME could do would be smoke on top of that ward, because Kaka's walking around with one of those.
And speaking of him, he's doing pretty well as Night Stalker on support. 15 CS, minute 10. He's level 5. Would obviously like to find a couple more levels as soon as possible. Speaks for itself. But 2-1-1. And we've seen other games with Night Stalker in this tournament where he turns out to be very strong and had a way worse start than this. And this time, he also has an Abaddon to help him become a threat in the mid game. So I could see this being a good Night Stalker game for him.
And the other cores still look pretty damn good for EHOME. Like, you look over to Vega and no one still is topping the net worth. He's on his way towards that Deso. Really nice timing for him as well. Made it a lot easier since it got cheaper. But EHOME now start their push. They've only got the buckler in the hands of Old Chicken. It's not the headdress instead. As, okay.
That is not a kill I would have looked for either.
No, it's an Echo Slam with a future control. It's
Shaker should never solo kill Queen of Pain without a Blink Dagger. So Old 11 just seized an opportunity there.
He didn't even have a good rune. Like, he had himself a bounty rune he picked up from the bottom lane. The big rune that came up at the 10-minute mark was the double damage for Old Chicken. So Old 11. We'll go back into Dota TV and look for that one later.
Mag? Oh, that's bad news for the Shaker. But there's no bash available, so he might actually just... No.
Fissure TP out, they commit Sonic Wave to ensure the kill. Critical thing as well for the Queen of Pain to get that money back again. The Earthshaker was... Well, he's still got a fair amount of level, so he's worth quite a chunk. But while they were doing that, TA took out a big stack. And that allows for an 11.5-minute Desolator completion for no one.
That is super early. It might be the fastest Deso we've seen this tournament. We've seen a couple of TAs. I don't think any of them was sub 12. This is exceptionally good.
And he's so far ahead of the SF. Like, Old Chicken's moved up to do a couple more stacks. Because EHOME did keep their supports up there, up on the top lane a little bit longer, the stacks weren't really heavy or early. So the efficiency of the farming of the SF hasn't been perfect. But you're already looking at the completed mech for him. So you have a 12-minute mech up for the SF. And this will allow EHOME to force the issue a lot more.
I do want to point out how good of a pick TA is, though. I think Vega found the best possible hero in the pool. There's no really good counter on the Dire side. The best you can find there is, of course, a good Requiem, dealing a lot of instances of damage. But removing Refraction, just that is going to become a challenge for EHOME.
I was actually wondering too then if Luna would try and go in for the early 4 levels up in Moonglaves, which means you have to sacrifice your aura. You can only put 1 point up into that Luna Blessing. But CTY has already gone for the second point, so he's going to go for the standard build. Because Glaives will cause that TA to lose Refraction during the fights.
I think Moonglaves have the weirdest scaling out of any spell in Dota.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So you go 1, 3, 6.
Okay.
It's like the old Dro Agi buff up.
Yeah, that's some weird stuff. Well, I think CTY in this game has to get a Manta. They need multiple instances of damage to get rid of this Refraction, and he's the only one who can really do it with this hero. Him or the Shadow Fiend. It is a requirement. Since Vega, or rather no one is already having such a good game on TA, they have to know he has incredible farm because of this Deso timing. If they don't itemize against him, this is the kind of game where TA can just take over completely and just run you down.
Interesting to watch the trade coming out from EHOME and Vega at the moment. So EHOME take out the tier 1 tower. The SF's able to gain that. He's already forcing into the tier 2 tower, trying to force a rotation off. Now Vega, the trade-off is that Mag is getting a lot of farm up on top and getting closer and closer towards that Blink Dagger. And that will give Vega a lot more secure initiation. Mag, I think you really want to jump forward for this one. 11, able to get that stun off with the Echo Slam. They ensure the kill on Mag. Well, you might hit with the Sonic Wave. A lot of the damage is repaired and Lanham. He's got shield off cooldown in 1 second time. Old Chicken gonna get cursed up. That's a big lockdown on top of EHOME. No one needs to do more damage, however. They get through the refraction charges, but the Nightmare from Solo buying him a little bit more space with the Cold Embrace, not gonna do enough. Not when CTY turns on the Eclipse, looking for more damage. Siemens is gonna get beaten down by the Earthshaker. CTY, well, he can't even get that last lucid beam off because the Void from Night Stalker. Kaka able to find the kill, and they get a 4-for-1 trade-off in favor of EHOME.
That was all about the initiation. The fact that Slaughter just got blown up before the fight even started. I think at that point, if you're Vega, you're just like, okay, we got caught off guard and we can't take this fight. But they tried to commit further in and ended up in a pretty bad 4-on-5 where the idea was good enough and they did get the kill on the Shadow Fiend. But there's just so much more in EHOME's tank after you've committed everything for that kill. I think they didn't even get their mech off, and they still won that fight convincingly.
He died without using it.
And there's one thing you should keep an eye on in this game, of course. This was the biggest buff in a long time that Abaddon got, and a buff I thought would bring the hero maybe back into the metagame. It didn't. But you can cast your ultimate whenever you want. So even if you're nightmared by Bane, you can just pop Borrow Time and help your allies out. So they can't really shut him down. They can't prevent Lanham from getting out of disables and getting a Photic Shield onto his core of choice. Nice denied by no one.
So this kind of begs the question now. Is Vega in any position where they can beat EHOME in just a direct fight?
Yes.
When EHOME have all their ultis up?
They can, and the last fight was actually close if Mag just wasn't dead. Because what they managed to do is exactly what needs to happen. They need to get a Winter's Curse on a target where Abaddon is part of the curse. And they did that on Old Chicken and blew him up, but it was still just a 4-on-5 fight, essentially.
Well, EHOME now going to have a secondary life. The next one will be 5-on-6. As an easy pickup now for EHOME, Roshan. Just a simple walk-in. They will have to trade off on the top lane as the Queen of Pain is up there pushing pretty hard. And already Earthshaker TP's back the mid lane. So Roshan belongs to EHOME. They're stacking up the Ancients at the same time, and Old 11, he's itching for another fight. Echo Slam comes off cooldown in 5 seconds time. He's already got it up at level 2. So not only did you get farm on this Earthshaker with his Blink Dagger, and almost probably even at 4 staff with the Staff of Wizardry now being purchased, he's got a level 2 ulti already. If they catch TA without refraction, this could hurt like hell.
Yep.
And CTY is already looking for support. Solo's out a very long way on the bottom lane. And in fact, with this rotation coming in from both Kaka as well as Odd 11, Solo, he can't even TP out. If he goes into the tree lines, like he'll attempt this, but the Fissure will easily reach him. And now with the Void as well, the Nightmare's still controlling him, but then they go for one quick Lucid Beam. And the Bane will end up dying, getting a little too confident on that bottom lane.
Man, this Night Stalker's getting really rich. He's got 4 kills. Only 1 death to his name, double assists, and of course earned Tranquils and 2,000 gold. This could be such a fast Aghanim Scepter for Kaka if they give him a little bit of farm priority. Looks like CTY says, nope, get off these 2 creeps. I need absolutely everything, but
he needs that Manta, man.
Whatever he wants.
He needs that Manta, or SMY.
Yeah, curious to see which choice it is. I think this is a great Manta game. Although, of course, as we mentioned, he does have the Abaddon to take off the Amplify. It's still good to have more choices and to be able to break through the refraction.
Bottom lane pressure's kicking in again, and no one still on his way towards that BKB. He can pick up his Mithril Hammer. So the damage output of the TA is still very, very good. Like, you're still looking at 230 damage coming out from her before her Mithril Hammer arrives. I kind of like the switch up from Pasha too. He started, okay, CTY should be dead. Got a couple of one charges and 11
oh
with the
my
Echo
God.
Slam and the Eclipse. He ain't dead at all. Live and kicking EHOME. With the help of Old 11, just turns it around and no one's on the run out of here. Lanham wants to catch up, just want to take a storm down. Old 11's going to do the work. The curse is there. It does include at least the Abaddon. And Earthshaker will end up dying.
Solo must have had the biggest déjà vu right there. He did the exact same thing as before. He nightmared a hero right into the exact same spot in the tree line, but this time he got out with the TP, so he had to escape there. Still a good fight for EHOME. 2-for-1 trade. They should also get this tier 2 tower, knowing that Sonic Wave and Winter's Curse are on cooldown. Vega just don't have what it takes to fight into this.
They really don't. Not when the Earthshaker is also that close. If they were able to pick off the Luna so quickly, like, then it could have been better, but the fact the Earthshaker had time to arrive to help out CTY. CTY, that's now the second Eclipse we've seen him trigger, and every single one's been away from creep waves and isolated heroes of Vega. So really effective ultis out from him.
This has been a really solid game from EHOME so far. They're even managing to stack the Ancients very nicely here. This is a is that? No, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 10 stack on the Ancients. I think it's a 4.
Man, you're scaling that as well as the glaive bounce.
It's a lot. When he's probably going to wait until he has Moonglaive level 4 so he can farm it. That bounce increase from 3 to 6 is massive for farming Ancient stacks, of course.
Interesting to see with this great start from the Night Stalker. He doesn't go for the early gags like I thought he might. Instead, he gets obs, he gets smoke, and he builds a Vladimir's offering for EHOME. Strengthening up their fighting even more, and well, Night Stalker, when you got Lanham behind you, these initial stuns don't really count for anything. It's so problematic. Like, you think you've got yourself a good initiation, but if you don't catch the Abaddon, your initiation doesn't do anything.
And it's funny when you see how this game has developed so far and how much Lanham has managed to accomplish that this hero is never picked. It's really a great showcase of its strengths, and in my opinion, a pretty forgotten hero who even, as we mentioned, got a big buff on his ultimate and his Aghanim Scepter. Should you manage to acquire that somewhere down the line, it's one of the best Aghanim Scepters in the game. Like, it's absolutely incredible.
One of the old problems was he was never in range, though.
Yes.
Like, so you had to get like Blink Daggers and Force Staffs on the Abaddon to make it work.
Well, he still has the same bad cast range on Aphotic Shield. That wasn't changed, but the fact that you can stay close to your carry now and still get it off simply because of the borrowed time just means you basically have a get out of jail free card for your carry almost all the time. Imagine if Wyvern wasn't in this game. Then they couldn't even do the curse. That's one of the best counters in the game, essentially, to Abaddon doing that thing, and they're still making it work very easily.
If you want the answer for CTY, he is most definitely saving up for a mech. For a Manta. You actually have Old Chicken also completing up a Manta, so they can have double Mantas available for EHOME.
Yeah,
Vega, smoke movement, Old 11, he's going to get initiated on. Mag gets the good start off, but how much work can he do? Old Chicken Fiend script up, Mag isolated on the hillside, but can this SFD make off in time? No, he can't. It's just a death ulti. Lanham wants to move forward as Seema, locked in by this vision. No one's BKB, is now going to wear out and wait for your Eclipse time. CTY's got it ready to go, and he's moving forward, but the curse! Catching all of EHOME, holds him in position, but it's not enough. Seema will still end up dying, but at least it keeps EHOME away from the two big cores of Vega.
I think that was a good curse. I'm not sure if they could have caught up, but the risk-reward ratio here,
it's
well
just
worth
the safety
it.
First.
Yeah, just get out of there. You knew no one already burnt his BKB. That's when it starts getting really scary. And that was a pretty good fight for Vega. Yes, they end up losing it 2-1, but the way they initiated it and split it up and got a full Fiend script off, that's what they need to look for.
That dire observe what is watching no one. Old 11 really wants to jump and stun him. He's just not sure he can get it off. Well, back to our farming time. CTY gets to have the fun up at the top lane. Pasha's still in the neighborhood. Couple hundred gold away from having his BKB. Actually, with that, this fight's gonna look very, very different. Like, you've already got the BKB up from no one, which allowed him to stand during the last fight. When you get this on the Queen of Pain, how much of an impact is that gonna have against EHOME's approach to the fight? Actually, doesn't do anything because the Earthshaker just blinks in and gets him before he gets the BKB off.
It depends. It's probably not going to matter as much in this game as in a lot of other games, because I think Pasha still has managed in previous fights to get a pretty decent Sonic Wave and Scream of Pain off. The thing it allows him to do is get multiple Screams off, since he can follow through. This physical damage from EHOME is not that scary yet. I say that, and I'm looking at a Luna with 250 and a Shadow Fiend with 200 without the Wolf Aura on him, but you know which direction this game is going, and at some point this BKB is going to be pretty weak. I don't know if it's the right choice, to be honest.
instead of actually going for something more like the Aghanim. So you've always got that ulti to keep the wave back and buy time. But like, what else do you get? Like, do you try and go directly into the scythe? Get control that way? It's pretty risky to go for that high jump.
If he's getting this to counter the Night Stalker Silence, he could have got a Euros. But I think he wants to counter Night Stalker Silence and the Shaker. But at the same time, like you said, if Shaker gets the jump, he's still not safe. And it doesn't scale him. It allows him to fight right now, but he isn't going to become a core this way.
Well, EHOME forcing the issue right now as Old 11 gets initiated on, and he'll get forced after wait. Do they have enough? The Fidget from Old 11 is able to connect. The Void keeping Mag away, so he can't keep chasing after that Earthshaker, who they try and protect as hard as they can. And Echo Slam is still their biggest team fight initiator for EHOME. And they come back in again. They've got to realize there's a TA trap up there. But with no sentries down for EHOME, they don't see it. They just try and force it with the damage.
Blades.
Yeah, Old Chicken gets hurt pretty hard by that, but they get what they came for. Now EHOME just have to make sure they get out without any kind of exit kills.
If Vega initiate into darkness, they're going to get absolutely destroyed, I think. They have to be so careful.
Now Old 11's backed up, it's not as easy.
Let's see if Kaka buys a point booster now. Yep, okay. So now it's X time.
Yeah. Even a Solar Crest already for the Abaddon. Like, you don't have a Butterfly on CTY, but attacking into him is going to be almost impossible. And Roshan spawns in just over a minute. That'll be the next critical moment, critical place for EHOME. And Vega, with this push up middle lane, it'll help gain some level of control over on the lanes before Roshan. But they do not want to overcommit.
It is daytime, and they know darkness is on cooldown.
But they don't see the Earthshaker. He's sitting in a perfect sandwich spot on the tree line. Mag will walk straight past him.
I think he had an opportunity there that he missed. He could have got a 2 or 3 man echo there, and that should be more than enough if they follow through with the clips. That's the nice synergy between Shaker and Luna, is that Shaker just clears out the creep wave with a good echo.
The only problem they had was it wasn't nighttime anymore.
Well, Eclipse gives them 10 seconds of nighttime, so then Kaka can run in. You know?
If you can win a fight in 10 seconds, that's a pretty short clock.
Echo Slam is a really good ability for winning a fight in 10 seconds. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, you could say for EHOME, they don't need to take the risk. They know they're winning on farm. They've got a really substantial lead, actually 10,000 right now. Probably with a better late game too, since they have good counters for amplified damage. The Slaughter doesn't have the same impact as we're used to seeing.
I'm interested to see what CTY is going to be building into. He just used his wand charges and then sold his wand. Still holding on to almost 3.8k. It might also be so we can open up a slot for this Aegis the Immortal.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a butter for CTY. But
it would make sense, but when you've already got the Solar Crest over an Abaddon, do you really need it? Like, it might almost be worthwhile getting something like a Skadi up.
I think a big percentage
of
the
no one jumps in, there's your curse, and this time, again, it catches out Lanham. He's just a little bit too close, but there goes your ultimate. And Lanham just wants to back out with a crush. The Abaddon should die. They're attacking a hell of a lot before his ulti runs out, and Lanham does as much damage before his own death.
Nice curse.
Yeah. But that's 5 heroes. 5 heroes for Vega committing on this bottom lane.
They're going to get at least 1 time. They could get maybe 2. Knowing that Shaker is on the sideline should give them a lot of confidence. Or they can get this, which is actually even better. Considering they're 10,000 gold behind, this is such a big play coming out from the Wyvern.
The SF Illusion's counted out.
Doesn't matter, they can't fight this. There's no way they're going to even try. They're just going to split push the best they can. Except that this did not go the way they wanted.
Right.
And they're going to lose a tier 1 as well. This is a 5,000 gold swing with 1 fight, I think.
It's going to be a debate going on inside of EHOME. CTY actually bought a BKB and then sold it instantly after. Really uncertain about how they want to approach this game then.
And Vega must have quite a bit of confidence now, knowing that they have this Aegis on the Templar. It allows no one to engage without using BKB and eating some key cooldowns from EHOME if they find a team fight.
Also lets him buy up some big items. If he wants to go directly into that crit or direct attack, he is going up against a Solar Crest, a potential evasion.
MKB has to be the choice.
Yeah.
He's playing against 2 natural butterfly carriers and a crest. It's a no-brainer here for no one. I'd be... Actually, any other item would be a surprise to me. Even a Daedalus. There's just too many good reasons for MKB.
Yep. I concur. CTY, Where's he going here? I'm almost wondering how long he thinks he can keep farming.
Why is he bringing a Satyr Banisher around with him?
Oh, they've had it for a while. I don't know what exactly they're trying to purge. But they've been walking around.
Can you purge amplify damage with that? I guess you can, right?
Should be able to.
And it can farm the Ghost Camp. Nice. 7 damage. It will win in time. This 1 HP region from the Ghost is actually helping it a lot. Come on. Winner!
Middle lane, TA. Linked away, Mag, he's jumping in over on Kaka. The 4 stars from both Mag as well as Kaka, pushing them out to safety. Now it's actually old 11 who was saving his teammate. I know the duel on top lane was important, but maybe the tier 2 tower is also important. No one, just keeps attacking in, and he's trying to force EHOME to attack. This is that soak up you were talking about. He's got the Aegis, he's sitting on the front line. Seema now starts the curse on the Earthshaker. They're removing him from the fight, and Lanham, Mag controlled him perfectly with that Slither and Crush. And do they have enough damage? The Glaive starting to bounce around, no one. He's getting carved apart. They can at least buy a little bit more time here with that Cold Embrace. Remember, that's only part 1 of this fight. You might lose solo as well, but the Aegis Immortal brings him back up, and he blinked away before the Eclipse from CTY can connect. He triggered his BKB for that one too, and Mag, well, he actually gets glimmered. Nope, Night Stalker had enough damage. It was the urn that was ticking him out. So it will end up being the Aegis pop. A 3-for-1 trade if we do count the Aegis.
That looked like a great initiation from Vega. They immediately blew up the Shaker. The Sonic Wave, I think, hit 2 other targets. But they're struggling to deal with the BKB on this. First of all, the Luna. I don't even know if they even had an opportunity to kill him there, but he just used it for safety. And of course the Abaddon again, as long as he's outside of range of that Winner's Curse, it's difficult for them to find a key target that they really want to kill.
They really land to have a Blink Dagger or a Force Staff. Like, because even though he was out of range of the curse, the fact that Slaughter just jumped over, like Mag knew, okay, Wyvern's going to come in from behind, they have the Observer Ward behind the tower, they knew where EHOME was, and he blinked himself forward to make sure that Abaddon was out of the fight.
I still think Aghanim Scepter is very valuable for him this game. If you look over Vega, just blocking, I think is it 35% of the damage he takes, I think? So 35% of all the damage that I think allies in 900 radius take gets redirected to him. I think that's how it works. So obviously when you pop your ultimate, you're going to heal to full extremely fast because you take so much damage, but it's more about the mitigation. 35% is extremely high, and the duration of this ultimate, I think, it's 7 seconds on level 3. It's like a poor man's Guardian Angel with a 40-second cooldown. It is very good.
It doesn't seem that poor.
There's a lot of utility in the Force Staff or Blink as well, so I would agree with that.
Yeah. It just depends what he prioritizes, because if Vega see that, then Vega will probably just stop touching him. Like, they'll move on to everybody else and try to kill him off.
50% redirect. It used to be 35. It must have been buffed a lot. Man, that's sick. That's super sick. I like Abaddon, can you tell? Oh,
Mag,
there we go.
Blink forward, Abaddon still waiting for this. He hasn't let the shield off, and Old Chicken now is there with the Echo Slam. It's so harder. Man, Mag just evaporated in thin air. The Sonic Wave will fly back, but Lanham, well, all he does is trigger his ulti. The curse, however, Seema, perfect time. The bouncing glaives, and Old Chicken, just above 100 life, is able to survive. Vega can't finish the job, and with the fissure, they actually find Seema. They keep the stun going. He can't protect himself inside that Glimmer Cape. And EHOME take 2 big kills. They grab the gem into their hands.
I don't think they saw it.
They didn't.
They missed it.
Yeah, it's just sitting on the hill. They don't...
Old 11? Nope.
They've already got a gem of their own, too, coming out in the courier.
Let's go mid. They need to be a little bit careful, though. They used a lot of abilities there.
They still have Eclipse in the BKB of CTY, and that's going to give them more than enough confidence.
Right, Glyph is going to be used.
If they get enough mana back into the SF, you could even use Requiem, because that entire fight went with that Old Chicken getting Requiem off.
That's true. Speaking of key abilities, Vega might have actually used more. They used Grip, Curse, and Sonic Wave. They're going to take the tower and go back, playing it safe.
It's one of these sad times when you look at an SF and you understand he's got so much power but can't use any of it because he burns through so much when he goes for the early raises and uses the mech charge.
Old 11, are you looking at your hero? Oh!
Yeah, there's the ping. Yeah, SF sees it.
Nice.
Lanham will take it.
Man, if only Vega knew they would have sent a courier there a long time ago. I think they can't believe it.
Man, if EHOME knew, they could have saved themselves a huge amount of money because they bought the gem only like a couple of maybe 20 seconds before that fight began.
It's more difficult to predict that you're going to kill the enemy gem carrier than to see it on the ground.
That's very true. I will not debate that at all. But by EHOME now having this gem, the TA trap's going to disappear from the map. The observer wards of Vega have also been mopped up. And the only vision they've really got is that trap sitting inside the Roche pit. And that's only going to be useful in, well, potentially a minute and a half.
And EHOME should be getting back there about 10k lead now. See, there's this one moment of greatness for Vega, and then they made a little hat in the graph. And now we're back to...
It's the one moment of greatness. I'm still looking at something that's so great that he's sitting at the top net worth. It's the Templar Assassin. He's sitting at 19k net worth. The Monkey King bar is done. If he can actually get the Daedalus as well, he could destroy EHOME. It only takes one good coordinated fight. I'm actually wondering then if Curse really helps him out. Because you curse and you line everyone up, but you do still have that that reduced damage.
Yeah, that is true. They need to put the curse on a nice target and then wait with Sonic Wave. Wait until it's just about to expire, then throw in the Sonic Wave. And of course, Templar Assassin has to be hitting the guy who's cursed. And sometimes in teamfights, that's a little bit difficult to identify and click it correctly.
Then is it worthwhile holding back on Mag's initiation? So if you can get something like that, like Glimmer Cape into a big curse on the Wyvern, then you wait for it to end and Mag jumps in with a Blink Dagger to get the crush off.
Yes.
That'll keep that control going, so
that is
then the TA can do the damage.
The best thing they can do. It is also very difficult to get that set up, but should they do it, they could probably win the team fight off the back of it. But again, there's always the wild card in Abaddon. Even if he's caught in the curse, in which case using his ult won't help, the moment the crush is on, he can take that away with borrowed time and save one of his characters. And all he needs to do is get a Photic Shield off so they can BKB.
Yeah. Well, Vega, if they do get that lockdown, that TA is hitting at 400, not including when she crits. That is including the refraction charges, however.
And he is so farmed.
Yeah, if that full Daedalus is done, it's only going to take one, maybe two hits to rip apart almost all of EHOME.
I'm not sure if Daedalus is actually the right choice, though. It's always very tempting to go super high damage on TA, but I think there could have been a lot of value in getting a Butterfly at this point, so you can, first of all, use the Flutter to stay on targets in the fight if you need to, and more importantly, it improves your refraction, because a lot of the attacks will actually miss, and you will keep it running for longer.
Yes.
It looks like EHOME are planning to threaten mid, but Vega are seemingly ready for it. By the way, this ward inside the Radiant base is extremely good right now for you.
Has he so much? And because she lost the gem, you can't de-ward it. They put a Radiant Sentry out to try and get rid of that, but that's almost going to give him a little too much confidence. Vega going to group up. Looks like it's smoke time again. They're not fully ready to go, like Solo still hasn't finished up this Vladimir's, which he attempted to start, well, he did start before. With a smoke movement, Mag to the front lines, EHOME, they're bailing out of here. They got the Aghanim Scepter up, so Mag's gonna be visible very early on. Jumps forward to Old Chicken. He's so tanky though with that fresh Skadi done. And Vega, they move over. Look for that side blade damage. The curse is out on Old Chicken. No one needs a little bit more. And the SF can't get the Mech off. He'll die as the first casualty of war. And the blink away. Partial survive with the Echo Sang. Back in from Old One and CTY is eclipsed. It does way too much damage. A double kill, a monster kill for CTY. And now chase even further. The blink is still on cooldown for Old 11, but he'll 4-star up, looking for the stun over on Seema. The loser beam will set up for the follow-up fissure, and then Kaka can go to work with the rest of his team. Wyvern can cold embrace himself all he wants, but he's lost 4 heroes. Only the Templar Assassin has buyback, and EHOME will make a beeline for that mid-racks.
And I actually think that could have gone even better for EHOME. Lanham kept holding on to borrowed time through the Orchid. He could have taken off the Orchid with borrowed time and cast the Aphotic Shield on Shadow Fiend. I think he might have been able to save him in that fight, but regardless, they get a 4-for-1. Exceptionally good fight for them. And this is one of the things that Luna is so extremely good at, is sieging the base. The moment you take down the tower, so you allow these glaives to bounce across all the buildings, it increases her damage on this build. I don't know by how much, but it's
the fact that it's not just that too. Like you look at Solo try and come back in. He takes a little bit of glaive damage and Nori drops down to 3/4 of his life. That's not even intentional damage from the Luna. There's a couple of illusions left behind. And now she becomes even stronger. A full Satanic done, combining up with the Assault Cuirass. This really is just your frontline tank that you're searching for.
Oh, and I have to correct myself, by the way. I just realized. Alright, we don't see this hero very often. Borrowed time can be activated while disabled but not silenced. So it's the one counter. So there's a reason Lanham didn't do it. When you're Orchided, it's a little counterintuitive because Aphotic Shield can remove silences on others. And you're thinking, okay, this hero is built around purging and removing debuffs, but you can't remove silences on yourself. That's the only downside there is. So that was actually, he did what he could in that situation.
I won't judge you, Syndrome.
Thank you so much. But yeah, EHOME with a great play. They get the Rax mid, they take a very easy Roshan here. Putting the Aegis on the Shadow Fiend instead of Luna, I think is the right choice.
They could finally be aggressive with the SF. SF almost wants to die so he can get his mech charge off for once. He's gone through the last 4 fights and never used his mech. Even its Requiem has been very rarely used. The only issue for him at the moment is the fact he doesn't have max souls, but the Nightmare might be another one. But you've already gotten through the tower, so the Glaives are making it very difficult for Vega to get forward. Even Slaughter having that Blink Dagger come on cooldown. It's bad that the buildings are out, and CDY, he dodges with the Mana Cell and no one isolated outside. They give the curse on CDY, buying a little bit of space, but Ult Chicken now winds up that ulti, buying time. There's your Eclipse, no one's down, and this will probably even be the game right now as EHOME, there it is, GG, well played. They are rampaging through the Vega base. As the EHOME combo, the unique picks, they work and they take game number 1 in this best of 3.
That was such a cool draft. I hope EHOME have more of these strategies up their sleeves. Not only showing off the Abaddon pick, but of course the Luna here. Exceptional performance from everyone in the team.
It's amazing how well the lanes worked as well for EHOME. You didn't really feel Vega controlling early on. Like the Templar Assassin was probably their strongest lane out of all 3. But you never really felt the Slaughter. Like it was the Slaughter versus the Ursh.